Kitty, and this podcast is mine. Missing, Murdered, Unidentified in New England. I cover cases from the New England states of Connecticut, Maine, Massachusetts, New Hampshire, Rhode Island, and Vermont. Each episode takes place over the month of each year between January 1st, 2010 and December 31st, 2020. And based on sources, some episodes will be long and others will be short, as these cases don't generally have much information available. All of the research, scripting, opinions, and mistakes herein are my own, and I will offer updates and corrections when possible. I do not offer trigger warnings for wounds, as they are a necessary part of the narrative. I will trigger warn for such topics as suicide, animal death, domestic violence, etc. as needed. Now with that, please listen in as I tell you about May 2010. May 2010 updates. Ivil Brown's advocacy work is still going strong, even in his death. Jamaica Plain councillor Kendra Lara, who was paramount in the effort to bring more money to the Youth Jobs Initiative that Ivil was a part of during his lifetime, gave a tearful testimony on the council floor regarding the former gang-involved youth advocate. Ivil was killed before seeing the impact of his advocacy. Quote, "Year after year, Ivil came and testified before the City Council to ask that the Boston City Council increase the budget for youth jobs," said Councilor Lara. "If $6.9 million means that maybe we lose 15 less young people this summer, then I think that is an incredibly worthwhile investment." I believe that Ivil would have been proud of himself and would be proud to know that he made a difference. And I know that his family understood how wonderful and special he was. If you know who killed Ivil Brown, please call 1-800-494-TIPS. Rafael Montanez lived on Alderman Street, where he enjoyed playing on his PS3, listening to music, singing, dancing. Rafael was an avid Yankees fan and loved to see them live. Rafael loved his TT's pizza patties and other home-cooked meals. Rafael was his own person who didn't have a specific gang affiliation. On May 1st, 2010, at about 8:15 p.m., rival gangs at the corners of Allendale Street and Dwight Street in Springfield, Mass. Started fighting. First with their words, then with their fists, and finally drawing their guns and shooting. The aftermath of this gang battle left one man shot in the shoulder, one man shot in the leg, an 8-year-old boy shot in the foot, and finally, Rafael Montanez, who was shot in the abdomen, striking him in the liver. After being shot at 57 Allendale Street, Rafael ran around the corner to Dwight Street, where he fell on the sidewalk. Rafael was taken to the hospital where he had emergency surgery that unfortunately did not save his life. He was pronounced deceased somewhere between 9:45 and 10 p.m. Rafael was not in a gang and didn't hang out on the street where he was shot. He lived in the Forest Park area of the city. Rafael Montanez's murderer is described as a Puerto Rican male in his 20s, now 30s, wearing black nylon shorts and a Yankees baseball cap. The second gunman is described as a black male in his 20s, now 30s, with a muscular build, wearing a white shirt and with blue spray paint on it. They both escaped on a red motorcycle. The following poem was part of Rafael's memorial. Pequeño Angel. Pequeño Angel, descansa tus alas, siéntate conmigo. Como deseo agregar tus manos y ver tu tierna sonrisa. Pequeño ángel, mírame, que quiero esta imagen clara. Nunca tu cara precioso olivar es mi lo más grande. Pequeño ángel, me puedes decir, ¿por qué te fuiste tan lejos? Si no estuviste tanto tiempo, ¿por qué no te puedes quedar? Pequeño ángel, bajo su cabeza, estas cosas no las conozco. Pero lo que sí conozco es que tú me amas y yo a ti también. This poem roughly translates into Little Angel. Little angel, rest your wings. Sit with me. How I want to hold your hands and see your tender smile. Little angel, look at me. I want this image clear. Never to forget your precious face is my greatest fear. Little angel, can you tell me, why did you go so far? Otherwise you were so long. Why couldn't you stay? Little angel, lower your head. I don't know these things, but what I do know is that you love me and I love you too. Please, if you or someone you know can bring Rafael Montanez's murderers to justice, please call 1-413-269-8255. Not much is known about the life or death of Scotty Jenschke. What is known is that he had a loving family who were devastated to learn of Scotty's murder. Scotty's sister says, How do you tell your mom 2 days before Mother's Day that she just lost a child? That was a really bad day. I watched a piece of her die that day. Scotty Jenschke was found on the morning of May 7th, 2010, shot once, laying in front of 50 Division Street, Pawtucket, Rhode Island, by a passerby. Scotty had a criminal record, a brief history of incarceration, and managed to keep his undisclosed criminal activities away from his family. It is thought that Scotty was targeted and knew his killer due to the circumstances of his death. It's unclear, though, if his criminal past contributed to his murder or if another element was involved. No arrests have been made. Scotty is now the 3 of Hearts in the Rhode Island cold case playing card deck. If you or someone you know has information leading to justice for Scotty Jenschke, please call 1-877-747-6583. For young Jihad Waters, only about 25 at the time, he was not new to gun violence, as he had been shot and confined to a wheelchair only a few years earlier in 2005. Jihad was the dad of young children and was preparing to take classes at Bunker Hill Community College. Jihad had a criminal history, being arrested on drugs and weapons charges in July 2005 as an end-stage teenager. Jihad's neighbors said that he traveled to physical therapy 3 times weekly. Jihad was often seen traveling with friends along the street. Jihad was loved by many. The minutes leading up to Jihad's death were filled with joyous conversations and preparing to celebrate his mom, Marilyn Thomas's birthday, by cooking hot dogs and hamburgers on a grill he borrowed from a neighbor. Jihad was new to the neighborhood, only moving from Lawrence Ave in Dorchester to Washington Street in Dorchester 2 months before his murder. He called upon his neighbor around 4:39 p.m. on May 20th, 2010, to ask to borrow his grill. The neighbor told him it needed to be cleaned. Jihad was cool with that, and then invited the neighbor over for dinner as a show of appreciation. Marilyn was on the phone with Jihad minutes before he was killed. She told him she was on her way, but by the time she was ready and picked up the phone, her son was dead. Jihad had his back towards the stairs, facing the grill at his 795 Washington Street home in Dorchester, Mass, around 5 p.m. when a coward shot Jihad in the back of the head in what police call a gang-related attack. The gunman escaped on a scooter, allegedly driven by an accomplice. Both of these cowardly individuals are reported to live on Bailey Street in Dorchester, Mass. Police arrived within 2 minutes, and Jihad was brought to Boston Medical Center, where he was pronounced deceased. Jihad is memorialized in the Garden of Peace, a place that serves as a memorial to victims of homicide, a place where families, friends, and the larger community may remember and honor the lives of those taken by violence, and serves as a visual testament of the need to eliminate it. At the same time, the garden serves as a symbol of hope, peace, and renewal. If you or anyone you know has information leading to justice for Jihad's children, please call 1-617-343-4470. Jefferson Corey Leon Johnson, better known as Corey, without the E, led a proud and purposeful life. A Dorchester, Mass. native, Corey had 2 young daughters, just 6 and 4. Corey was a concert promoter, attended church regularly, loved fashion and people, as was seen at his funeral of 600-plus individuals who also loved Corey. Corey took part in tutoring programs aimed to help people who grew up in the wrong neighborhoods, who needed the extra guidance and assistance to ensure they thrived despite life's early setbacks. How did this beloved young man come to die so prematurely? Gun violence. On May 30th, 2010, Corey and his 24-year-old brother were walking down Attucks Crispus Place near their dad's home near Fenwick Place in Roxbury, Mass, when shots rang out around 12:48 a.m. Corey was taken to Brigham and Women's Hospital, where he was pronounced dead. His brother survived with non-life-threatening injuries. There are no suspects at this time. Corey is buried at Mount Hope Cemetery in Suffolk, Mass. If you or someone you know has information to help get justice for Corey's daughters, now in their teens, please reach out to 1-617-343-4470. Ivell Brown was DJing a Halloween house party in Mattapan, and as people were leaving, shots were fired, striking a young woman in the chest. Instead of running away, Ivell ran to the young woman. She said, "I thought that was the last day that I was ever going to see life. But it so happened he runs outside and saved my life," she said, speaking slowly. Out there, laying there, screaming, telling God I don't want to die. He put his shirt over me, telling me to just relax, calm down, you're not going to die. I wake up the next day, I see him and my best friend. The young woman, critically injured, spent about 2 weeks recovering at a hospital, where Ivell visited her or called her each day. This story was recounted at Ivell's funeral, and after the retelling, Ivell's mom, Merveline Chambers, gave the young woman a long hug. Ivell Brown spent his early teen years on the streets and was kicked out of school at the age of 14 for selling crack. He was then approached by a youth worker who offered Ivell a job. 3 years later, Ivell, then 17, worked at Family Services of Greater Boston, City School, and at Mattapan's finest barber shop to help support his family. Ivell was a born leader who found solace in the phrase, "Be the change you wish to seek." And by all resources I found, he took that phrase to heart. Ivell believed that every young person should have the opportunity to work for something they believed in and change their lives around, like Ivell had. Ivell went from a drug-dealing gang member to someone who fought to improve the lives of others. Ivell believed in getting kids off the street, getting them summer jobs, and giving them something to work for, giving them hope for a better future. Ivell was stabbed in broad daylight at 1:30 p.m. on Memorial Day 2010 near 35 Harmon Street, 1 block away from his home. A 19-year-old was also stabbed and survived their injuries. No motives were given, but police say this wasn't a random attack. Neither Ivell nor his friend were known to police at the time, and no arrests have been made. Now it's time to do the right thing and turn in whoever stabbed this 17-year-old kid to death. Ivell was born on May 8, 1993, and died May 31, 2010. Ivell is buried at Forest Hills Cemetery in Jamaica Plains, Mass. His family was unable to give him a headstone, citing it too costly. Please call 1-617-343-4470, 1-800-494-8477, or text TIP to crime. If you have any questions, concerns, complaints, please email me at minepodcast@gmail.com. All one word, and mine is spelled with 2 M's, 2 I's, 1 N, 1 E. Please include what your message is about in the subject line. Later, y'all!